Hey everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Safe, Simple, Sound Podcast Investment Edition. If you've ever felt like you're a great saver, but you're standing at the edge of a diving board, wondering what the next step is to actually build wealth, then this episode is for you. We're going to demystify the world of investing and give you a clear, confident path forward. Today's entire discussion is based on one of our foundational articles on the Safe, Simple, Sound blog, titled Putting Your Money to Work, An Introduction to Investing. It's one of our most popular guides because it gets right to the heart of what we believe in. The article highlights a couple of key ideas that I really want to expand on. First, the crucial difference between saving versus investing. One is about putting money aside for safety, while the other is about putting that money to work for growth. And second, it reinforces the idea that successful long-term investing isn't about complex charts or risky stock picking, but about building simple, patient, and disciplined habits. Those core ideas provide the perfect roadmap for our conversation today. Let's get started. So let's start with a concept that trips a lot of people up: the difference between saving versus investing. We often use the words interchangeably, but they are fundamentally different tools for different jobs. Think of it like this. Saving is like stocking your pantry. You fill it with canned goods, bottled water, and first aid supplies. It's for safety, for emergencies, for short-term needs like a car repair or a vacation next year. It's secure, it's accessible, and it's absolutely essential. But that can of beans is always just going to be a can of beans. It's not going to multiply. Investing, on the other hand, is like planting an orchard. It takes more upfront effort, and there's a longer wait involved. But you're not just storing food. You're creating an engine that grows food for you. You are putting your money to work. Saving is for safety. Investing is the engine you use to actively build wealth for your long-term goals. And that engine runs on a truly magical fuel, the power of compound growth. This is one of the most exciting concepts in all of finance, and it's the secret behind all successful long-term investing. Here at Safe Simple Sound, our mascot is Shelby the Tortoise. She's not flashy, she's not a gambler, she just makes slow, steady, purposeful progress. Imagine Shelby starts a journey. Each day she takes a steady number of steps, but on day 2, the progress she made on day 1 somehow grows tiny legs and starts taking steps for her. And the next day, that progress grows legs too. Soon, you have an army of progress working alongside you. That's compounding. It's your earnings, generating their own earnings. That first dollar your investment makes isn't just a dollar. It joins your original investment and immediately starts working to make its own money. It's a slow, powerful snowball effect that, over decades, can turn modest, consistent contributions into significant wealth. But for that engine to work, it needs a destination. This brings me to what I believe is the most critical first step in anyone's financial journey: setting financial goals for investing. Investing without a purpose is like meticulously planning a road trip. You've packed the car, filled the tank, checked the tire pressure, and then just driving aimlessly. You're burning fuel and going nowhere. Your goals are your GPS. They dictate your entire strategy: how long you'll invest, how much risk you're comfortable with, and what kind of investments you choose. So, this is a great moment to pause and ask yourself a question. When you think about your financial future, what does security or wealth truly mean to you, beyond just having cash in a savings account? What does that future look like? Let's make it more concrete by walking through a few common goals. For many of us, it's retirement, the freedom to stop working on your terms and enjoy the life you've built. For others, it might be saving for a child's education, giving them a head start without the burden of massive loans. Or maybe it's that big, tangible goal: a down payment on your very first home, a place to put down roots and build a life. These aren't just line items on a spreadsheet. They are the why behind the what. They are the emotional fuel for your financial journey. So let's try one more thought experiment. If you could fast forward 10 or 20 years, what is the single most important financial milestone you would want to have achieved? Really picture it. What does it feel like? That is your destination. That is your purpose. So, to quickly recap this first segment: 1. Saving is for safety in the short term, while investing is your engine for growth in the long term. 2. That engine is powered by compound growth, where your money starts working for you, tortoise style, slow, steady, and relentlessly. And three, you need to give that engine a destination by setting financial goals because your why determines your entire strategy, which leads me to your call to action for this segment. It's simple, but it's powerful. I want you to take just 15 minutes. Grab a notebook or open a document on your computer. I want you to write down your top 1 to 3 financial goals. Be specific about what they are: a $50,000 down payment, a debt-free retirement at 65, and more importantly, write down why each one is meaningful to you. This why will be your anchor when markets get choppy and your motivation when you need to stay disciplined. Now that you have a destination in mind, the next logical question is, where do we get the fuel for this journey? How do we find the money to put into this powerful investment engine? That's exactly what we're going to cover in our next segment. Stay with us. Now for the big question. How do we actually fuel the journey? A destination is great, but a car with no gas isn't going anywhere. That's exactly what we're diving into in this segment. Finding the fuel, how to save more money to invest. Because before you can put your money to work, you need the money in the first place. You need capital. And this isn't about extreme couponing or depriving yourself of everything you love. Not at all. This is about embracing a concept I like to call mastery of cash flow. It's a fancy way of saying you understand exactly where your money is going, so you can confidently direct it where you want it to go, towards those goals you just wrote down. So let's get practical. The first step is to create a simple spending plan. Now, I want you to notice the words I'm using. I'm not saying restrictive budget. The word budget can make people feel constricted, like they're on a financial diet. A spending plan is different. It's about awareness, not restriction. It's about looking at your last month's bank statement or credit card bill and just seeing the story it tells. You might discover you're spending $50 a month on streaming services you forgot you even had. Or maybe that daily coffee run adds up to over $100 a month. The point isn't to judge yourself. It's to find opportunities. It's about asking, is this $100 of coffee bringing me more joy than $100 invested toward my future home would? Maybe it is, and that's fine. But now it's a conscious choice, not an accident. So here's a little challenge for you. Think about this for a moment. What is one area of your spending that you feel you have the least control over? And what's one small step you could take this week to just understand it better? Maybe it's just adding up all your miscellaneous Amazon purchases. The goal is simply awareness. Okay, once you have that awareness, you've identified a few places where you can free up some cash. Now, how do we make sure that cash actually goes toward our goals instead of just getting absorbed by other spending? This brings me to the single most powerful tool for consistent saving: automation. We are going to use the pay yourself first strategy. Think about it. When your paycheck comes in, who gets paid first? Usually, it's your landlord, the electric company, your cell phone provider, everyone but you. We need to flip that script. Your future self is the most important VIP you have, and they deserve to get paid first. The way we do this is by setting up an automatic transfer from your checking account to a separate savings or investment account. Have it happen the day you get paid, before you even have a chance to miss it. It becomes just another bill, like your rent or mortgage, the future me bill. And when it's automatic, it's effortless. You remove willpower and emotion from the equation. This is how we start to reframe this whole idea. How can you reframe saving from an act of restriction to an act of empowerment? You do it by realizing you're not losing that money. You are paying your future self. You are actively building the life you want. And this whole process directly answers one of the most common questions we hear: how to start investing with little money. This is how. You don't need a windfall or a huge inheritance. You start by finding $50 a month or $100 a month from your spending plan. You automate it. That consistency is what builds momentum. Remember our mascot, Shelby the Trustworthy Tortoise? This is her philosophy in action. Slow, steady, purposeful steps. Those small, consistent contributions are the key. They are far more powerful than waiting for the perfect time or a big enough amount of money to get started. So, let's recap. To find the fuel for your investing journey, you need to 1. Embrace mastery of cash flow by creating a simple spending plan to see where your money is going. And 2. Automate your savings by paying your future self first. Make it effortless. Which brings us to your call to action for this segment. This is so important, and I really want you to do this. Sometime today, not this week, today, log into your bank account and set up one recurring automatic transfer to a separate savings account. It doesn't matter if it's just $25. The amount is less important than the action. We are building the habit. That's the real win. Once you have that automatic transfer set up, you'll have a steady stream of capital, of fuel, ready to go. So the next logical question is, what do you do with it? How do you actually build the investment engine? Well, that's exactly where we're headed in our next segment. Stay with us. So now you might be looking at that little pile of money growing and thinking, okay, now what? Where does this money actually go? That is the million-dollar question, and it's exactly what we're tackling in this segment. We are going to demystify one of the most important concepts in all of finance, building your very first investment portfolio. Let's start with that word, portfolio. It sounds so official, doesn't it? Like something you need a leather briefcase for. But I want you to forget all that. A portfolio is simply the collection of all your investments. Think of it like a recipe. Your financial goal, say a comfortable retirement, is the final dish you want to create. Your portfolio is the list of ingredients and instructions you use to get there. Our goal today is to give you that recipe. We'll show you how to build an investment portfolio from scratch, focusing on one thing, aligning your investments with your goals and your comfort with risk. So let's get into the first two core ingredients. This is a concept called asset allocation. It sounds complex, but it's really just the decision about your mix of two things, stocks and bonds. Stocks are like owning a tiny piece of a company. Think Apple or Target or Ford. They offer the potential for higher growth, but they also come with more ups and downs. They're the gas pedal in your financial car. Bonds, on the other hand, are essentially loans you make to a government or a large company. In return, they promise to pay you back with interest. They are generally much safer and more stable. Bonds are the brakes in your car. They provide safety and control. Asset allocation is one of the most important choices you'll ever make because it's how you decide the balance between your gas pedal and your brakes. It's the key to balancing risk and reward. And this brings me to our first question for you today, a moment for some honest self-reflection. On a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you with seeing your investment value go down temporarily in exchange for higher potential growth in the long run? A 1 means I would panic and sell everything, and a 10 is, no problem, I'm in it for the long haul. There's no right answer, but your gut feeling here is a huge clue about what your personal mix of stocks and bonds should be. Okay, so you've got your mix. Now, what kinds of stocks and bonds do you buy? This brings us to our next crucial principle, diversification. You have absolutely heard the wisdom behind this one. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. That is it. That is the core idea. It's the foundational principle for how to invest money safely for beginners. Imagine you only invested in one company, a fantastic local ice cream shop. Business is booming, but then a record cold winter hits. Sales plummet. Your entire investment is at risk. But what if you had also invested in a company that sells hot chocolate, another that makes winter coats, and another that produces rock salt for icy sidewalks? Now, a cold winter isn't a disaster. Some of your investments will likely do well, even when others don't. You've spread out your risk. Here's a way to make this tangible. How does thinking about the different companies and brands you interact with every day help you understand the concept of a diversified economy? Think about it. The phone in your hand, the coffee on your desk, the car you drive, the streaming service you watch, you're interacting with dozens of different companies across technology, consumer goods, and entertainment. A well-diversified portfolio is just like that, a broad mix of different companies and industries, and that is the magic formula. When you combine proper asset allocation, that personal mix of stocks and bonds that's right for you, with smart diversification, spreading your money across many different baskets, you create a portfolio that is built to be safe, simple, and sound. It's not about gambling or picking the next hot stock. It's about building a sturdy, reliable foundation for long-term investing. So, to recap, your portfolio is just your collection of investments. Asset allocation is your mix of stocks for growth and bonds for safety. And diversification is your strategy for not putting all your eggs in one basket. Now, I know the next logical question is, this is great, Alex, but what is my perfect asset allocation? I have an easy, free, and incredibly powerful call to action for you this week. I want you to go online to the website of a major brokerage firm like Vanguard or Fidelity. You don't need to open an account or give them a dime. Just search for their free investor questionnaire or risk tolerance quiz. It'll ask you a few simple questions about your age, your goals, and your answer to that 1 to 10 scale question we just talked about. At the end, it will show you a sample asset allocation for someone just like you. There is no commitment here. This is all about discovery. It's about taking these big ideas and seeing what they look like for you personally. Once you have that framework, that structure for your portfolio, the game changes. The biggest challenge is no longer about picking the right things. It's about sticking with the plan. It's about managing your own emotions. And that is the perfect setup for our next and final segment in this series. We're going to talk about the investor's mindset, the habits, the discipline, and the psychology you need to stay the course and let your amazing new portfolio do its work for decades to come. Stay with us. We're diving into what might be the single most critical factor for your success, the investor's mindset. We're going to talk about the habits that separate successful investors from everyone else. And here's the good news. It has almost nothing to do with being a math genius or a market wizard. It's all about behavior. First, let's get this on the table. Successful investing is less about timing the market and more about disciplined behavior. The core philosophy here is long-term investing. This means patience and consistency become your superpowers. Forget the frantic energy you see in movies with people yelling buy, sell at stock tickers. Instead, I want you to picture our mascot, Shelby the Trustworthy Tortoise. Slow, steady, purposeful progress. That's the name of the game. The most important habit to build is simply thinking long-term and training yourself not to panic during market downturns. And trust me, downturns will happen. They are a normal, natural part of the investing cycle, like seasons changing. The news will get loud, headlines will be scary, and your gut reaction might be to sell everything and run for the hills. But history has shown us, time and time again, that the market recovers. Sticking to your plan during that turbulence is what separates those who reach their destination from those who jump ship mid-journey. This leads me to a question for you to reflect on. How do you typically react to uncertainty in other areas of your life? When a project at work gets chaotic or a travel plan goes sideways, are you someone who stays calm and focuses on the next logical step, or do you get flustered? Think about that, because that behavior can easily translate to how you watch your investments fluctuate. Knowing your own tendencies is the first step to managing them. So, how do we manage them? This brings us to our second habit, which is a fantastic practical tool. It's called dollar cost averaging. It sounds technical, but it's incredibly simple. It's the practice of investing a fixed amount of money at regular intervals, say $100 every month, no matter what the market is doing. When the market is up, your $100 buys fewer shares. When the market is down, that same $100 buys more shares, kind of like they're on sale. Think of it like grocery shopping. You buy milk every week. Sometimes it's $4, sometimes it's on sale for $3.50. You don't stop buying milk just because the price changed. You buy it consistently because you need it. Over time, the price you paid averages out. Dollar cost averaging does the exact same thing for your investments. It automates your consistency, removes the emotion of trying to guess the perfect time to buy, and can actually lower your average cost per share over the long run. This is a direct answer to our second guiding question. What systems can you put in place now, while you're calm, to prevent yourself from making emotional financial decisions later? Automation is that system. Setting up an automatic investment every single month is one of the most powerful things you can do. It's the ultimate set it and forget it strategy for how to invest money safely for beginners. And finally, the fourth habit of a successful investor is embracing financial flexibility. Your plan isn't meant to be carved in stone and ignored for 30 years. Life happens. You might get married, have a child, change careers, or inherit some money. Your goals will evolve, and your financial plan should have the flexibility to evolve with you. This doesn't mean you check your portfolio every day. Please don't. That's a recipe for anxiety. It simply means scheduling periodic reviews to make sure your strategy still makes sense for your life. Think of it like a long road trip. You have a destination, but you still glance at the map once in a while to make sure you're on the right highway, especially after you've passed a major city. So, to recap the four essential habits: 1. Think long term and remember that patience is your superpower. 2. Don't panic when the market gets turbulent. Stay in your seat. 3. Use dollar cost averaging to invest consistently and remove emotion. And 4. Be flexible and review your plan periodically to make sure it still fits your life. These habits are what make investing safe, simple, and sound. They build the discipline that allows compound growth to truly work its magic over decades. And that brings me to your final call to action for this series. This one is simple, but I promise you, it's powerful. I want you to pull out your phone or your calendar right now. Go to this same date 1 year from today and schedule a 1-hour appointment with yourself. I want you to title it My Financial Review. That's it. Just by putting that 1 hour on your calendar, you are reinforcing the habit of long-term investing. You're creating the space to be a calm, disciplined, and successful investor who is in control of their financial future. And that's a wrap on our foundational guide to getting started with investing. We've covered a lot of ground today, but I hope you're walking away feeling empowered, not overwhelmed. We started by tackling the why and distinguishing between saving versus investing. Then we got practical with how to find the money, proving that you absolutely can learn how to start investing with little money through simple, automated habits. I think the most crucial part was demystifying how to build that first portfolio, breaking down asset allocation and diversification to show you exactly how to invest money safely for beginners. And finally, we brought it all home by focusing on the patient mindset required for successful long-term investing. If there's one thing you take away from our discussion, I hope it's that this is all within your reach. Those calls to action we discussed, writing down your goals, setting up that first automatic transfer, or scheduling your annual financial review, are the small, tangible steps that build a powerful foundation. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the Safe, Simple, Sound community. I truly appreciate you letting us be your guide. For links to everything we talked about, including our full article, Putting Your Money to Work, head over to the show notes. And if you found this episode valuable, please consider leaving a review or sharing it with a friend who might also be looking for a guide to investing for beginners. Until next, remember that your financial future is yours to build. Keep it safe, simple, and sound. This is Alex, signing off.